Hello and welcome to day 2. So, who loved our song today? And do you know, whenever we were children, we knew exactly what to do. And once we started getting older, they told us to pay attention. We were daydreaming all day. It was, hey, come back to earth. Hey, do your homework. Hey. But we were daydreaming all day, and that is exactly how we create our goals. Everything starts with daydreaming. Everything starts with a thought, even down to the piano. So this is how we start towards our goals. We daydream about it. We imagine ourselves having it, and then we take action towards it. Okay, so yesterday we talked about the C-type goals and we set those C-type goals. So how many of you are excited about those C-type goals that we set? And if you haven't finished out your goal, keep working on it. And that is why you are here and doing what you're doing. We're working on our goals. We're setting our goals. So today we're going to talk about who we need to become in order to achieve our goals. Okay, so once we have set our goals, most people are like, I have to practice more. I need to learn more strategies at the piano. And sometimes this is true. Sometimes we're not practicing enough. Sometimes we don't have the right strategies. But we don't necessarily need to add more practice time. We don't necessarily need to learn a bunch of strategies. We need to learn what works. And we need to learn how to structure our practice time so that we're going to the next level of piano. And we know that just adding more and more and more practice time does not cut it. Yesterday we discussed that working harder and learning strategies is not the method for reaching our C-type goals. What this leads to is burnout. And so that is the method. So what is the method for achieving our C-type goals? The next step, after you write out your goal, I'm so happy and grateful now that it's December 2024 and I'm playing whatever song that is. You can put that, as long as you have a date, you can put that goal out a year. You can put that goal out 6 months. Now, don't put it out 10 years or 5 years unless it's going to take you that long to grow into that goal. But you want to have something that's going to keep you excited. But once you have that goal set, the next step after writing that goal is what we call the psychological transformation. Who do we need to become to achieve our piano goals? And the shortcut to making your big piano goals a reality in less time is to ask yourself, how does that person that is playing my goal, how do they think differently? How do they feel differently? How do they take action differently, especially around practice structure and performing? Act from the place of your goal already being achieved. Think about, I want to calibrate myself to the version of me that has already achieved my goal of performing Rachmaninoff's Piano Concerto No. 2. Or whatever that goal is. Maybe that goal is, I want to calibrate myself to the version of me that's already achieved my goal of playing in church. Maybe it is I want to calibrate myself to the version of me that already has my goal of playing at the center tonight. Or maybe inspiring others at the piano. Most people don't act from the goal already being achieved. They say, well, hey, I'll just wait until I have already achieved that goal before I can act that way. Before I can be happy, I'm going to wait till I achieve that goal. So now let's reverse that process. Right now, before you achieve your goals, let's learn to act like this person that plays your song. Let's feel like that person that's playing your song. Let's think like that person that's performing your song. Let's think about ourselves the way we would think about ourselves when we play our song. When we achieve our goal, how are we going to feel about ourselves? Let's feel like that now. And we want to tap into that psychology right now. And how are you different now that you've grown to play that song? Now bring that feeling to now. Don't say, I'm just going to wait until I get there. When I get there, then I'm going to feel. Let's practice being that person now. And whenever you step into the level of yourself that is the psychological transformation. And whenever you step into that psychological transformation, two things happen. So you enter the frequency of your goal. And so what are frequencies? So frequencies, think about radio stations. Radio stations and cell phones. Everybody has a cell phone, right? Almost everybody. The question to ask is not, do you have a cell phone? It's, do you not have a cell phone? Because even little bitty kids have cell phones these days. It's crazy. But, cell phones and radio stations, think about these things whenever we talk about the frequency of your goal. And if you're on an FM dial, you're not going to get music or talk radio or anything else that's on an AM dial. Why? Because you are on the wrong frequency. So let's break that down to where we're living at. Most of us operate on the radio station of our present results. We're here. We need to operate from the radio station of our goal. Now we can do this in several ways. One, by repeating our goal is already fulfilled and believing it. And two, you are being that goal already achieved version of you. You have stepped into how do you think different? How do you feel different? How do you play different? How are your habits different now that you're playing that song? How have you grown? So by living from your goal achieved is how you are going to get those inspired ideas. And we talked about that yesterday. Having those inspired ideas once you set that goal. Once you set that goal, you start getting these inspired ideas. Think of improv. Think of composition. You're composing your own music, whatever that may be. So these ideas are not going to come from your goal where you're at. These are going to come from your goal already fulfilled. So it's not about hustling and pushing and making things happen, you're going to start, once you dial into the radio station of your goal, you're going to start getting those inspired ideas. You're not going to get them from your present results. They're going to come from your goal. So it's about knowing what to do. Imagine you can tap into the radio station of your goal and have an inspired idea about how you can get closer to your goal, and you know that it is going to be right. So a personal example of me living from my goal fulfilled, when I was about 14, I was learning the representation of chaos. That's by Franz Joseph Haydn. If you're familiar with the oratorio, The Creation, of course, the representation of chaos is the very first song. And I was learning the entire creation. And there was just a few measures in that first song, in the representation of chaos. Just a few measures, 4 or 5 measures that I could not get. I would envision myself playing this song. I would envision playing it perfectly in front of an audience. I would envision myself playing those measures correctly, and I was not getting it. And so I went back to my piano teacher at that time, and I sat down and I was like, I can't get it. And she said, well, have you visualized? I said, yes, I visualized. I have done everything I know to do, and I still cannot get these few measures. And so she gave me another thing to do. And what I did was I went home and I sat there with my music in my bed, and I read through my music. I continued to visualize. But I didn't just visualize and think, oh, it would be great when I can finally play this. I visualized it and I heard myself playing it perfectly. I saw myself playing it perfectly. I was grateful that I was playing it perfectly, and I could not play it perfectly at that time. And so I went to bed and I threw my music on the floor and I just went to bed. And about 3 o'clock that morning, I woke up with a dream of exactly how to play it. I got my strategy of how to play it in a dream. And I jumped up, I ran to the piano at 3 a.m. and I played it and played it perfectly. What happened? I was living from my goal fulfilled, and in turn was given the strategies of exactly how to fulfill my goal. So how can I step into the version of me that has already achieved my goal? Now, this is what we're going to talk about today. How can I be that version of me now without overworking now? So if you're here with me live, I'd like for you to hashtag live in the chat box with your full name, so we can put you down for a raffle giveaway. For those of you that are here Monday through Friday and you hashtag live, if you're here Monday through Friday and you hashtag live, you're entering for a raffle, and that's for 4 one-on-one sessions with me. If you're catching this on the replay on Facebook, hashtag replay, I still want to acknowledge you and congratulate you. So I want to congratulate Stacy on her homework post. She won the How to Set the Right Types of Goals workshop with me that's worth $50. So congratulations, Stacy. So before I really go deep into this session, I want to say hi to everyone that is here with me live. And if you're here with me for the first time, I'd like to say welcome. If you don't mind, just give me a hi in the chat box. Most of you have. So congratulations for being here with me live. And thank you to everyone who has helped spread the word and get more people to join the masterclass. I know that the replays, I had quite a few replays yesterday, so congratulations again. People are really viewing this and using this to change their lives. So for those of you that are here for the first time, joining me on the replay for the first time, whatever it may be, I would love for you to stay for this session. But when you can, go back to the Facebook group and catch up on day one, because we are going in sequence. Every day we build on the previous day. So I would like to also encourage those of you who've just joined us in the Facebook group, to watch those replays. If you are watching this and you have not joined the Facebook group, I would like to encourage you to do that, because that is where the fun happens. We post our homework in that Facebook group. We post the replays in that Facebook group. The replays will be available until Sunday night at 11:59, and then I'll be trying to take those down. If you find that you would like a few more days with the replays in the Facebook group, reach out to me and I'll usually extend that. So I'm going to go ahead and pop a link in to the chat so you can join that Facebook group if you have not done so already. Okay. So today we're going to be talking about identity and confidence. So I believe that confidence is the pillar and the foundation to going big and going bold with your piano playing. So what got me into mindset was confidence, because my confidence was completely shattered. When I first started being a piano coach, you may remember the story I shared yesterday about the lay minister that just made a few snide remarks about my piano playing. But that bothered me, and that bothered my ability to play the piano in front of others. My confidence took a beating. And I remember trying to get up after that and trying to play in front of people, and I'd just be shaken so bad that I couldn't remember anything. My whole thing was I was focused on, oh my God, I shouldn't be playing like this. I shouldn't, all of these ideas would come into my head. So I got into mindset after all of this, and I worked through Thinking into Results by Bob Proctor. I was finally able to perform the piano again in front of hundreds of people after I tackled my confidence. And whenever I played in front of these people, I was not even nervous. So it was because of what I believed about myself that made me believe that I was not worthy. Sure, others said things about me, but I internalized that. I took their opinions as truth about me. And once I tackled my confidence, I was immediately able to perform again in front of people without shaking, without believing the worst about myself, without beating myself up. And this is why I believe that confidence needs to be addressed. You see, I couldn't do too much of anything because I did not believe in me. So who here resonates with the topic of self-confidence? You know, you can give me a yes in the chat box. Self-confidence may not be your thing. You may be very confident. But what is actual confidence? Actual confidence is what you believe to be true about who you are, what you're capable of, and how much you're worth. So yesterday we spoke about beliefs at the piano and how you can attract creative thoughts such as improv, and how you can also repel those thoughts based on your belief system. So today we're going to talk about beliefs about yourself and what you believe to be true about yourself, and what you believe to be true about yourself that may be limiting you in terms of fulfilling your potential at the piano. So where do those beliefs come from? And these beliefs come from two places. They come from your childhood. You may remember yesterday we talked about the subconscious mind is just wide open up until about the age of 6 or 7, and it cannot reject any information. You know, think about a little child, and the child is outside playing and you're trying to get them inside to eat dinner, and they will not come in. And you say the boogeyman is going to get you, and oh my Lord, they scream and holler and run inside the house. They're so ready to eat their dinner, right? They cannot reject any information because it's wide open, subconscious. They believe anything you tell them. Everything that's poured into them, they have to accept. So if you grew up with lots of praise, and you probably grew up to be a very, very, very confident person. But if you grew up kind of like I did and like a lot of other people did, and you had people in your life that criticized you, you probably grew up to have low self-esteem. And the reason is that idea gets stuck in your head. That idea is stuck, and the repetition of the idea went into the subconscious mind. I'll get it out in a minute. And you became an inner critic. Oh my, what if this isn't good enough? Oh my, I wonder if I'm using the right technique here. Oh my, I wonder if somebody's going to come on to Facebook, if I record myself and put it up there. I wonder if somebody's going to come on there and they're just going to start badgering me because I don't have the right posture or whatever. And that does happen. But these voices that, the self-critic that just worries about what people think of you. It worries about the fear of rejection and people giving you bad comments, worried about making mistakes and perfection, and so on and so on. It's just a voice that gets stuck in your mind. And so that voice can be changed very, very quickly. And the second place that you get your confidence, and the second place that your confidence can be impacted, is what we call a high emotional impact. So this is where you can be in a great environment, you can be in a very supportive environment, and then you go through a situation that leaves you just feeling terrible about yourself. Usually these situations are bad divorce, breakup, maybe the death of a loved one, bankruptcy, foreclosure, something like that that just brings you down. And in that moment, you just feel smacked by the world. And the results are tumbling down, right? Because of the high emotional impact, you simply lose belief in yourself. And once again, that can be, transformed very quickly. You don't have to stay that way. And you can never achieve more than how confident you are. So your perception of yourself, how do you feel about yourself? That perception, how you feel. And it's not how I feel today, but I feel great tomorrow. No, it's the what do you feel on a day-to-day basis is either going to speed you up towards your piano goals or it's going to limit you. Now this applies at the piano, but this also applies in regular life. So think about it. If you worry about what other people think about you, you're not going to be super loud about playing the piano. You will not want to perform. In fact, you will be looking for any excuse to get out of playing the piano. You will be hiding. And if you shift your confidence just a little bit, what will happen to your piano playing? It's only going to get better. And how do I know this? I know this is because I've actually done it. And think about how you're thinking about yourself. Think about how do you perceive yourself. So here are some self-confidence questions. If you are someone who has high self-confidence, stay on for the identity part of the session. But right now, the self-confidence questions, I'm going to ask. If you're here in Zoom, you can put relate in the chat box. If you're joining me on Facebook, you can put relate in the comment box. So, do you ever compare yourself with others? Do you ever worry about what other people will think about you? Do you ever procrastinate with practicing the piano or performing because of fear of making mistakes or being rejected? Are you being hard on yourself when you make a mistake? So, I'm going to give you a quick tool to shift your self-confidence right away. And this one tool takes 10 minutes a day. If you do this tool for 10 minutes a day for 30 days, you will start to see all kinds of shifts in your self-confidence. You will start taking more actions towards your goals. So the name of this is Compliments in the Mirror. Now, yes, it's a very, very, very fancy name, but that is exactly what it is. It's compliments in the mirror. So you stand in front of the mirror and you look at yourself in the mirror and you give yourself 10 things that you love about yourself and why. You may think this has very little to do with self-confidence, but it actually has so much to do with self-confidence, because whenever you really start to think about, I'm sorry, my dog is photobombing. So when I started doing this, I could not find 10 things that I loved about myself. I was so focused on what was wrong with me. What was wrong with me? Well, there was enough wrong with me, but I did not need to focus on what was wrong with me. I needed to find something that I loved about me. So I started off with, I love my eyes. Why? Because they let me see the beauty of the world. I love my ears. Why? Because they let me hear the most beautiful music in the world. I love my hands and my fingers because they allow me to play the most beautiful music in the world. And I kept on and on and on. And we change our subconscious mind by emotions. And if you're doing affirmations and you're not doing it with feeling, and you're just, I'm so happy and grateful now that I am playing for release December 2024. My friends and family are there. I'm playing it by memory. That will not inspire a slug. You have to get emotional. So the 10 things, just find 10 things that you can love about yourself. I love my eyes because it allows me to see the beauty in nature. I love my ears because they allow me to hear the most beautiful music. Really get into it. And whenever it comes to your affirmations, really step into those affirmations. I am so happy and grateful now. Versus I am so happy and grateful now. You change your subconscious mind with emotion. And if you don't get emotional about it, it's not going to influence your subconscious mind at all. The repetition with feeling changes your blueprint. It changes those deep-rooted piano beliefs about yourself, and you start to feel different about yourself. And what happens? When you start feeling different about yourself, you start taking more actions towards your goals. And this will benefit you in all aspects of life, not just the piano. So that brings us to our next topic, which is identity. And who do you need to become to fulfill your goal at the piano? You want to learn how to think. You want to learn how to feel. You want to learn how to behave. You want to learn how to make decisions like that version of you that already has achieved your goal. You do this now before you see any results. How do you think? How do you feel? How do you behave? And how do you make decisions like that version of you? This is where the change is. How do you design your identity? Ask yourself, how do I feel different? How do I behave differently? How do I think differently now that I'm performing at the piano? Now that I'm playing for church, how do I feel differently? Now that I am playing for the center, how do I feel differently? Now that I am playing wherever, how do I feel differently? How do I behave differently? Do I hold my head high? Or do I, I'm a piano player. You want me to play the piano? Or do you confidently say, well, yeah, I'm a piano player. Well, yes, I can do that. How do you think differently? You can answer these questions by using your imagination. Or you can look at other people who have already achieved your goal and that you've set for yourself. So let's say that you've set a goal to play in church. Okay, so what you can do in order to answer those questions, you can go look at someone who is already playing in church, that is successfully playing in church. You can look at these people and look at their qualities. You know, don't just look at these people and be like, oh, I'm not measuring up. No, look at these people and look at their qualities versus yours. Pick the qualities that you feel that you would need to achieve your goal. How are they structuring their practice time? Do they practice 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day? Or do they have a practice-life balance? How big is their repertoire? Where are they performing at? Do they have 3 songs that they've got really good and they just play those songs anytime they're asked? You know, a lot of us have that, where we have a few songs that we have under our belt, and we've had under our belt for a few years. And if we're asked to play, we don't necessarily have to have our sheet music. You know, we have that by memory. And we keep that repertoire ready. So whenever we're asked to play, we can just go sit down and play. How big is that repertoire? How do those people that perform, how do they think differently about themselves? How do they think about performing? Are they confident, or are they shying away from performing? Are they saying, this is what I bring to the table? How do they add to the repertoire? How do they balance their life as far as practicing and keeping their job and doing all of that? Do they have a practice-life balance? And how do they do all of that than I do? And how can I add their qualities? How can I take those qualities and how can I step into those qualities? Do they worry about what other people are thinking about them, or do they just push through and play anyways? Chances are they probably push through and play anyways. People who do great work always have people that criticize them. And I wish it didn't have to be that way. But I had a mentor that broke it down for me, and she said, focus on the light. Ignore the darkness. Now that is a whole lot easier said than done. You know, you have to focus on the positive, dismiss the negative. And one more thing before we move on. When these people are playing, how do they show up differently at the piano? Are they relaxed at the piano? Are they relaxed while performing? Or are they hunched over and scared to perform their pieces? What's their body language? Look at that as well whenever you're answering those questions. So, what are the habits and qualities of the person who has achieved your goal? That's what you really want to focus on. How can you live from your goal? What beliefs can you change about yourself right now to help you get closer to your goal? Pick 3 beliefs or 3 qualities that you can implement right away, and change these to I am statements. Okay, so I'm going to give you some examples. I am focused practicing on trouble measures every day, expecting success. I am adding 1 new song to my repertoire every week. I am confident in performing freely in front of a crowd. Now practice these qualities every single day. Practice that right away. Don't wait till you can play for release to feel confident. The more you do it, the more you get comfortable doing it. Some people think this is faking it till you make it. I had a preacher was preaching, and he said something that stuck out to me. Instead of faking it, faithing it till you make it. You're stepping out in faith, because faith without works is what? Dead. So faith it till you make it. Feel that way now. So the homework for today: pick 3 qualities of your next level self that you're going to implement, and really step into those qualities right away. Once you've stepped into those qualities, then pick 3 more and implement those. And this is how you become your next level self. So the giveaway for today for watching this session, doing the homework, is the Mindset Accelerator course. This is worth $1,200. This is full of the technique and strategies, the mindset tools at the piano. This goes into so much more depth. One of you will receive this tomorrow for doing your homework. So that's all that I have for today. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining. And I will see you guys tomorrow, same time, 7 a.m. Central Daylight Time. So post your homework into the Facebook group, and I will see you guys then. Bye bye.